Testing 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2. Welcome to Bayside Park, everybody. Yes. If we could have our speakers come up to the podium, come up to their chairs. We need all the speakers. Do we have the kids? Are the kids here? The kids that are going to sing the national anthem need to come up by this speaker, but we need all the speakers to come up so we can start on time. A lot of stuff going on today.
Volunteer? Yeah. Hello, can everybody hear me out there? I'll try to talk as loud as I can, but I think these kids are going to steal the show with their singing. So if everyone can find a seat for me real quick, and we'll try to get this started. I know it's pretty warm, and everybody's got schedules to be on, so we'll do the best that we can. Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Dan Allers, the mayor of town of Fort Myers Beach. There are several people here that I'd like to thank personally for coming out, but we'd be here till noon. So thank you to former mayors, former council members, everyone in the community that has worked so hard over the last year to get us to where we're at. I'll try to be as brief as I can. I'm going to invite up now Vice Mayor Adderholt. He's going to do the prayer for us, and we'll follow that with these lovely children doing the singing of the national anthem. So please bear with us. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The prayer I'm going to give is the exact same prayer I had the privilege to offer at the very first town council meeting after Hurricane Ian hit Fort Myers Beach. It serves as a bit of a time capsule as to what things were like a few weeks after the storm, but more importantly, it serves as a testimony to answered prayer 12 months later. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I pray that through all the death and destruction of Hurricane Ian, that you will help us to see and to be mindful of and to propagate the countless acts of kindness, grace, generosity, neighbor helping neighbor, friendship, and love that are occurring on our island as a response to this tragedy. Heavenly Father, so many people are hurting as a result of this storm. Please help to heal them. Hold them in your loving arms. Please surround them, comfort them, and give them a good night's sleep. We especially mourn for those who lost their life. Please lift up their families and friends. We are so thankful for those on our island right now, this very minute, who are involved in public safety. We are also thankful for the utility workers, power, water, and wastewater. And we are thankful for those doing the debris removal. We ask that you put a hedge of protection around them all. A special thanks to those who were involved in the miracle of getting the bridges open to the south end of the island. We are also so very grateful to those who came and continue to come from the county, the state, and from all around this great nation of ours to help us in so many different ways. One of those ways has been all the folks who have been praying for us. Help us to not underestimate the power of those prayers. Lastly, Father, I ask that you give everyone a peace that surpasses all understanding during this difficult time. May you continue to bless and keep the good people of Fort Myers Beach. Amen.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Now these lovely children from the beach school, if you please rise and remove your hats, they are going to sing the national anthem for us. Take it away, kids. Thank you very much, and thank you to Joe for being so kind as to hold the flag for us. Always has the best shirt in the crowd, too. I got to know where he got that. I have to. My wife Megan's out here somewhere. I got to get her on that to find it.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Now I'd like to invite Ed and Kim Ryan up to the stage. Ed's not coming, just Kim from Beach Talk Radio. They have taken on the task of putting together what you'll see under the tarp here. I haven't even seen it.
New.
This Kim Ryan.
Thank you, thank you. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today to present this memorial plaque to the town of Fort Myers Beach, the community, and to the families who lost loved ones during and in the aftermath of Hurricane Ian. We hope this plaque will serve to honor their memory while capturing the vibrancy and uniqueness of this beach. I would like to thank those who were instrumental in bringing this idea to fruition. Lacey McCleary for creating the thoughtful and symbolic artwork. Tony Bone for designing the custom frame. And Mary, Mitch's Mary, for providing support as a trusted sounding board. Thank you. And now we're gonna review.
That's pretty spectacular. I was going to try to get through this without being emotional, but it's your fault, Anita. You know, I had all these comments written down that I was going to try to talk about, and you know, they ended up in the trash this morning because I you know, not knowing what you're going to see, pretty powerful. The importance of all right, I'll try to compose myself here. I know. The you know, the importance of this park and why we decided to do it here were for several reasons. Many of you may not know that this was the entrance to the island. The swing bridge came right in behind us before the big bridge over to my left here was installed in the late 70s. And, you know, it has evolved. I'm by no means a historian. Anita could probably tell it a lot better than I could. But the fact that so many people came through this park to make this community what it is today, it was very important for us to have it completed in time for the one-year remembrance that we're sitting here today. There used to be a fountain that sat here that went dormant. You know, and if you get a second, if you just to kind of give you, for some that were not down here right after the storm, if you look behind you, those two poles have two black marks on them, and that's where the water was, on this side. So it gives you kind of an idea. We would all be standing under a very large pool of water. The debris that was piled up, that those poles, these are the existing poles from when the park was completed shortly before the storm hit. Times Square was piled in front of those poles, all the way back halfway down Wahoo Willie's front door. To see then, right after the storm, and to see what we have now, you know, we often hear that, you know, things should be going faster. We wish they could go faster. Why does it seem like nothing's been done? As a person that was here through the storm and watched the cavalry come over the bridge when it was safe to do so, from that time to now, is night and day. It's really unbelievable. I've been telling some of the people on the stage today that, you know, it doesn't feel like it's been a year, and for me, partly because until a couple days ago, the debris trucks are gone. They've been here for so long, it's just been part of our community, and now that they're gone, and now those sounds are being replaced with saws and hammers and pilings going in the ground, and that's progress. It's not going to be as fast as we want. You know, we live in a world now where you can order something and have it delivered to your house the next morning. But building a house and building a business and building a community back is going to take a little bit of time. But with everyone up on this stage, everyone out there watching, and everybody standing in this hot sun with us, we're all going to do it together. And years from now, when we look back at this, we'll certainly remember the ones that we lost on that board. We will reminisce about it, but we owe it to them to be back and be back better. So with that, I'll start passing it over to the people that are standing behind me. Everyone that's up on this stage, and many of you that are out there, I wish I had the time to recognize every single one of you for what you have done, not only for me, pardon me, but our community. So I thought it was important to let them each have a few minutes to say some words about what got them to where they are now and how they helped us. And I will try to say a few words before they come up about each of them that I've gotten to know over the last year and how they've helped us and how they continue to help us as we continue to rebuild. The first person that's going to come up and speak, she really doesn't need any introduction. She has been a champion for our area for the last year. Both her and the governor have worked very hard and have committed to helping us in any way, and that has filtered down through everyone that you see standing here behind me. Before we get to that, I want to take just a second to thank my fellow council members that are up here with me. Vice Mayor Adderholt, who did the prayer for us, Councilor Woodson, Councilor King, and Councilor Veach. You know, it takes a team, and I think we have a very good team, along with our new town manager, Andy Hyatt, Frank, our operations director, and our entire staff. Not one person can do it alone, and I think we're fortunate that we have a very good team. We have a very good staff. They're very committed to this community and getting it back to what the new Fort Myers Beach is going to look like. And as long as we stay together and we work together, that won't change. So the Lieutenant Governor is going to come up and say a few words for us, and I've had the opportunity to speak with her several times over the last year, and she cannot be a nicer person than, she's probably one of the nicest people I've ever met. She is committed to helping us, as I said. She just shared a very good story with me, how they came down as a family and visited Pink Shell quite often. So she has roots to our community. She's committed to helping us along with the governor, and it's their help is the reason we're standing here today in this park. It's their financial backing, it's their support for us that has led us to where we're at. So please welcome Lieutenant Governor Nunez.
Well, good morning. It's such an honor to be here in Fort Myers Beach. I want to thank the mayor for that kind introduction, and I may want you to go and talk to my kids because I don't think they have the same perspective about me. But truly it is an honor to be here on such a significant day for our state, for our community, and I want to thank all of the state and local elected officials. There are too many to name, but they have formed such an important part of our team in making sure that we can rebuild and recover. And Mayor, I could see and hear, and everyone here understands the emotion that you feel, and I think we all share in that same emotion. As we all know, we're here to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of when Hurricane Ian made landfall in Southwest Florida. And Hurricane Ian reached Category 5 status with over 161 miles per hour winds before making landfall on September 28th and barreling across our state. The storm damaged our businesses, it tore through our homes, it tragically took too many lives. But it did not impact our resolve. Our resolve as citizens of the free state of Florida, we were going to make sure that we rebuild and we recover. Despite the destruction, despite the devastation, and yes, Mayor, you're right. I think for some, it seems like time stands still. For others, it rushes by. But what we can assure you is that the resilience of Governor DeSantis, First Lady Casey DeSantis, and the entire team, we are going to stand by you each and every step of the way. I believe that this park is proof of the strength and determination. Bayside Park was destroyed by Hurricane Ian, and yet here we are. Here we are welcoming back Floridians and people from all across the country, all across the world. And I'm proud that Governor DeSantis, First Lady Casey DeSantis, and our administration was able to award $500,000 through the Florida Disaster Fund to help support this community in rebuilding this beautiful park. In the days leading up to the storm, Governor DeSantis made sure he took an all-hands-on-deck approach. He wanted to cut through any red tape. He wanted to make sure he would break down barriers. Through our Division of Emergency Management, we were in constant communication with the entire area. And as we prepared to respond to the aftermath of Hurricane Ian, I can assure you we had every resource available, every single asset that was needed. We made sure we had personnel in place, ready to deploy once it was safe to do so. And in that immediate aftermath, when what we walked out and saw was basically a horror scene, Governor DeSantis was there. He showed up every single day. He made sure he delivered on his promise to provide for those that were hurting. And we both toured the impacted areas and spent countless days making sure that we were accessible to people that were in the process of rebuilding. We were going to use every resource at our disposal to help the people of Southwest Florida. And I know so many of you have a personal impact and have had to put aside your own personal needs to help your neighbors, to help your communities. And I applaud you for your efforts in doing so. And that's exactly what Governor did. Governor Ron DeSantis made sure that he restored access to Pine Island in less than 3 days. He restored access to Sanibel in 15 days, restored power to over 2.6 million accounts, working with our utility linemen, making sure that we expedited every possible way for restoration. We removed 877,000 cubic yards of debris on land and 491,000 cubic yards of debris in the water. We opened the emergency bridge loan. We provided more than $37 million to over 900 businesses to help them get back on their feet. We awarded $100 million in funding to help our local governments address stormwater and wastewater infrastructure. We implemented the first of its kind state-led housing program to provide, even if temporarily, housing to displaced Floridians. We provided economic relief to hospitality-based businesses and small businesses and making sure that they can reopen. And today, Governor DeSantis awarded over $338 million in state funding to our communities impacted by Hurricane Ian. And those funds are going to help and assist with long-term recovery for schools, for our sheriff's office, for our fire stations, our parks and recreation centers, for our wastewater treatment plants, and for beach renourishment. It'll also assist local governments with the loss of revenue since Hurricane Ian. What I want to leave you all with here today is that our administration remains committed, not just for today, but for the long haul. We will be with you every step of this very difficult journey. Thank you all so much. May God bless you, and may God bless the great state of Florida.
Thank you very much, and thank you. And please thank the governor on behalf of the town of Fort Myers Beach and all of Southwest Florida, including our neighbors to the north who were just as impacted as we were. Your commitment to making sure we get back bigger and stronger is not unnoticed, so thank you. Our next speaker, I don't know what I could say about him. He is a character. I've gotten to know him over the last year. He wears his heart on his sleeve. At least that's my opinion of him. He is committed to helping us. He has gone above and beyond with the help of Vice Mayor Adderholt in getting the insurance villages here to get people that have been struggling with the insurance problems that we all have known so much about. And he's just a really good dude. I mean, he's just got a big heart, and he's also committed to helping us. And it doesn't hurt that he's the one that writes the checks. So we certainly welcome him here. Please help me welcome Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Petronas.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. You know, I came up this morning and I was, if you haven't figured, I get emotional real easy. I cry real easy. And you know, what's probably the most therapeutic thing you could have in a good morning when you're kind of emotional is a hug from Carmine. Give it up for your sheriff. And the first person I saw was Carmine. I got my hug, and I start looking around at all your faces, and everybody's smiling. And I'm thinking, God, for folks that went through so much hell, God bless you. God bless your love for this part of the world, why you call this home, why you bring your family here, why you make the investment, and why you're so resilient and want to see it built back. It's, amen's right, you know. And the lieutenant governor nailed it. The state of Florida is never going to forget about the pain and suffering that you've endured. I tell my people all the time, we were here before the storm, we were here during the storm, and we'll be here as long after the storm as it takes to rebuild your community. And now I'm going to bring up that dirty word that nobody wants to talk about, and that's insurance. That's right. We had an insurance village yesterday. I'm going to have a little bit of housekeeping with you, because some of you, if you're still working through an insurance claim, raise your hand. All right, cameras, you can turn around and look at that. There's still a bunch of people that need some help. We just had a insurance village yesterday in Charlotte County. We saw about 160 people, but that 160 people walked out with over $3 million in hand, okay? The insurance villages work. Okay, when you sit across from an individual who is the decision maker that owns the claim to your policy, I need you to show up. I need you to come there with your paperwork. And I tell people all the time, and even if you signed up with a public adjuster, bring the public adjuster with you. Let's close your claim. We're going to be for the next 2 days. We're going to be over at the State College. Please come and see us. Let us help you bring resolution. Let us give you what you deserve. Let us get you back on your feet. I'd be remiss if I didn't compliment the mayor and his leadership. I tell you, the weight of this whole part of the state has been on his shoulders. Same thing with your county commissions. Same thing with your school board members, your superintendent, your sheriff. The sheriff loses sleep at night because all he can think about is the safety and security of the citizens that have elected him to do a job. And it's an awesome burden, but you know, fantastic public servants. You've got good people that represent you here in Lee County. And then I'm gonna brag a little bit. You got great legislators. So you sent up what I think Florida still does it right. We've got what are called citizen legislators. These are men and women that have full-time jobs in their homes, and they go to Tallahassee to go hash out resolutions and solutions. So again, we put our name on the ballot. We expect to be held accountable. Give them your ideas, your thoughts, your needs, and let us go help you bring your home back together. And lastly, there's a guy over here I want to talk about. Where's he at? Where's Kevin? There's Kevin. See this guy? Kevin, will you stand up? I want y'all to see this guy. See this guy? So Kevin Guthrie, there's few people that I've met in life that really enjoy disasters, okay? And this guy rises to the occasion. I've never seen somebody who, when a storm pops up, it's like putting batteries in a robot. I mean, he just lights up, but all he knows is saving people's lives, getting people out of harm's way, and making decisions. I mean, the causeways wouldn't got repaired if it wasn't for Kevin. And we've got an amazing governor, but the governor says, Kevin, do this, and Kevin just does it. And, we've got really good people. But you know what? It's because of the people like you that call Florida home, that give us our spirit, our character, our heart, our passion, and you're the wind beneath our wings. God bless you. And don't forget, go to the Insurance Village. Let's help you. God bless.
See, what did I tell you? He's always so gregarious. That's awesome. I don't know, is Senate President Pasadomo, she's en route? Okay. Is Senator Albritton with her? En route. Okay, so they're en route. So we're going to move on and get back to them. The next person, he was just introduced to you. I had the pleasure of meeting him shortly after the storm, and he said something to me that resonated. I won't go into that, but what he did say, and we talk about how fast things come back, and one of the things he said to me that has really stuck, and I believe the council and the staff have taken it to heart and are trying to implement. He said, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It may not look like things are happening, but what you're starting to see is all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes from the governor's office down to the local offices, is that there's been a lot of work going on in the background. And you're now starting to see some of those flowers pop up, if you will. And it's in no small it's with no small reason other than Director Guthrie and his help. He committed to helping us. He always said every time we met with him, if you need anything, pick up the phone and call. And he answers when you call. And when you ask for something, as long as it's not something outrageous, we got everything we ever asked for and continue to get because of his leadership. And I couldn't agree with Jimmy anymore. He is, I think he really enjoys his job, and he's very, very good at it. So please welcome Director Kevin Guthrie.
You know, I love my governor. I love my first lady. I love the lieutenant governor who's here today. I would do anything in the world for them. I love Jimmy Petronas. But I'm going to tell you something I hate. I hate going after Jimmy Petronas because he embarrasses me every single time. And, well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You know, and then the energy level. You know, my communications director used to work for the CFO, and she says, Kevin, you got to bring that Jimmy Petronas energy. You got to bring that up there. And I'm like going, it's easier when you're not here, Jimmy, but I appreciate you. Well, I'm honored to be here with you today and commemorate the one-year anniversary of Hurricane Ian's landfall and mourn the 151 individuals who lost their lives. As I've traveled through Sanibel Island this morning, did a sunrise service with the Sanibel staff, and now here at Fort Myers Beach this morning, I'm reminded of the strength and resilience of Southwest Florida in the face of adversity. I distinctly remember a moment with our state meteorologist, Amy Godsey and Caitlin Gillespie, on the morning or in the early development of this historic storm. And about 4.5 days, 5 days out, they both were telling me, sir, it is going to hit Florida. It's just a matter of where. And I very distinctly remember a phone call with the governor on that day, and I said, Governor, it's going to hit Florida. He had me come to his office. I met in the office with him. I showed him some graphics, showed him some of the things, took our chief meteorologist, Amy Godsey, with us, and he says, it's definitely going to hit Florida. I said, yes, sir, it is. He says, are you ready to activate? I said, sir, we've already been working on some things, but yes, I would recommend that we do an executive order as early as tomorrow. You know, one of the things that I've been in city government, county government, assistant county administrator. I've been everything short of an elected official. But when you have leadership in Ron DeSantis that says, Kevin, it's 4.5 days ahead of the disaster, but we're going to go ahead and give you an executive order. Folks, that has, and I'm going to look in this direction, I don't think that's ever been done, 4.5 days in advance of a disaster. You know, I like what I do. I'm passionate about my job. I've got some of the greatest people in the world that do this job, but you give me 4.5 days, we're going to be successful. You know, that's a big difference versus having only 48 hours to do it. So again, I give all the credit where credit's due, and that's the governor to issue that executive order. It allowed us to do an early evacuation of our EOC in Tallahassee, and even more importantly, it allowed us to activate Emergency Management Assistance Compact and statewide mutual aid agreements with over 30 different states and over 200 local jurisdictions to bring resources from all over the country right here to Fort Myers Beach and the impacted area. And that was the difference. The full activation of the Florida National Guard before landfall and having them on scene is what helped us do all of those things and all those stats the Lieutenant Governor gave you. So again, thank you to the Lieutenant Governor, or I'm sorry, thank you to the Governor, thank you to the Lieutenant Governor for your leadership there. You know, our vision, and I'm going to try to speed up here. But our vision at the division is to lead the industry, lead the emergency management industry globally in building resilient communities. I've been with the Florida Division of Emergency Management since 2018. This week marks my 34th year in public safety. And we have made great strides in prioritizing disaster recovery and building resilient communities. But resilient communities start with you. We can pump money, we can pump policy into areas that build resiliency, but resiliency starts at the homeowner level, the business owner level. And as I look around this park today, I see nothing but resiliency around me. We could not do that without the governor and legislative partners behind us that obviously give us that policy and give us those funds to help out and secure infrastructure. But Hurricane Ian will go down in history as one of the most devastating and costliest disasters to ever impact Florida. But I also want to remember all of the things that we did and we did right, the firsts that we did in Florida. Despite the gravity of the impacts, these are just some of the things that we did in 5 key areas, which were emergency services, infrastructure, human services, logistics, and debris. The emergency services area, in coordination with our logistics section, as I've already mentioned, we did a full activation of the Florida National Guard. We had the U.S. Coast Guard and others in our air operations who dropped critical supplies to Sanibel, the largest ever air bridge that the state of Florida has ever conducted. Some of you saw that every morning when those helicopters, those Chinooks and those UH-60 Black Hawk helicopters were taking stuff into Fort Myers. So I want to thank specifically Urban Search and Rescue, which falls underneath CFO Petronas, law enforcement, which falls under Commissioner Mark Glass. I want to thank the Coast Guard and the Florida National Guard, Major General John Haas. Those individuals logged over 457 flight hours as well as a ton of ground hours and evacuated and saved over 2,000 residents and 42 pets in the hours right after the disaster. So men and women of law enforcement, fire rescue, thank you. I cannot help but reiterate what the Lieutenant Governor mentioned. 2.6 million people without power. Within 48 hours, the Florida Division of Emergency Management with its electrical partners, which were 40,000 plus persons staged ahead of the disaster, turned on the power to 2 million of those 2.6 million customers in 48 hours. That's never been done before in the history of Florida. So to the men and women that helped that come to fruition, thank you. And then I would be remiss if I didn't call out, I love that Jimmy says, Kevin built a bridge in 3 days. Kevin coordinated with a guy that is very, very good at building bridges. And that is, I'd love to take the credit, but I'd be, some people call him my doppelganger, but Jared Perdue, he's just a little bit taller than I am, but Jared Perdue did an amazing job of rebuilding the Pine Island Bridge in 3 days and the Sanibel Island Bridge about 15 days after that. We could not have done that with the Florida Department of Transportation, Florida Highway Patrol, those individuals involved in that. So again, I would really, really appreciate you giving the Florida Department of Transportation, Highway Safety Motor Vehicles a round of applause for that. Mayor, I'm going to speed up, I promise, but I'm probably going to lie about that. Human Services Branch. We supported the needs of survivors through the distribution of over 4 million hot meals, 15 million MREs, 500,000 food boxes, 2 million cleanup hygiene kits, 51 million bottles of water, and so on. But in addition to all of that, now those were our human services agencies, and there is a laundry list. I will call out Jason Weta, who is here somewhere today for the Secretary of ACA. He helps us out with that area of human services and also emergency services. But I want to give credit to somebody very quickly. Florida First. The First Lady, Casey DeSantis, raised $65 million and greatly assisted with the Florida legislature in creating the Florida's first ever Division of Emergency Management Assistance Foundation, which in future disasters is going to help us get money to you all much, much faster. So again, I want to thank her specifically. In logistics, before landfall, I talked a little bit about this, but we received over 7,300 mission requests to provide support to the state of Florida in the impacted areas within 48 hours of landfall. 20 county points of distribution were operational, with another 8 incoming online 24 hours later. These points of distribution were supported by 4 Type 1 logistical staging areas. That is the largest type of staging area you can get. The investment that the state of Florida does, that is over $2 million a week at each one of those. There's enough generation in one staging area to light up the entire city of Fort Myers Beach. So again, we did the right thing. We got these things ahead of the disaster. They were already staged, ready to go. Again, in addition to the 51 million bottles of water, the logistics team moved over 14 million meals, 308,000 bags of ice, and housed and supported nearly 6,000 emergency responders from all over the country right here in the impacted area. So again, I want to thank logistics, Kenneth DeCastro, our chief of logistics, as well as the state emergency response team chief, Jimmy Bojeda, in that. Then the last one is debris, and I'll stop after this. The lieutenant governor gave you quite a few of the stats from debris, but this was the first time ever that the Florida Division of Emergency Management has taken on a lead for debris. Within 72 hours of that mission being placed, multiple counties and law enforcement agencies were deployed to Lee County in the first ever of its kind side scan sonar mission. What people may or may not know, out here in Estero Bay, there were over 7,000 pieces of property, golf carts, trailers, vehicles, roofs, white goods that were in Estero Bay. 7,000. And Broward County Sheriff's Office was the first on scene, followed by many other local law enforcement agencies from around the country that actually scanned the bottom and found those, and then we removed those. All of that mission is complete, and the Estero Bay waters around here, Charlotte County, Naples, Collier County, they are completely free of hazards, and nobody will get injured in the future. They scanned 670 square nautical miles of navigable waterways, allowing the division to continue our efforts to pick up all of that debris. And again, first ever that's ever been done in the history of the state of Florida. The division worked closely to get that done with the Fish and Wildlife Commission, the Department of Environmental Protection, the Coast Guard, and local governments. As of today, as the lieutenant governor has said, we've already removed 4 million cubic yards of upland debris, including 12,000 white goods, and have removed nearly 931,000 cubic yards of wet debris. Folks, that's just a crazy mission. And the other thing that's crazy about it, as I close, we did all of that by August 31st, less than 1 year after the disaster. In Hurricane Michael, we were still picking up debris 18 months after landfall. So again, I'm very, very proud of the men and women. I said that was the last thing, but one last thing. $1 billion. The Florida Division of Emergency Management is committed to resiliency. We're committed to the state of Florida, but we have obligated $1 billion in public assistance funding to cities and counties throughout the state of Florida. We have another $500 to $600 million sitting at FEMA, waiting on Congress and the Senate to pass a bill replenishing the disaster relief fund. So any legislators that are here, it's $500 to $600 million is sitting there waiting on the button to be pushed. That will give us what is referred to for city and local governments 90-10. We will have reached 90-10 for the first time ever in the Florida, and that's a result of the Florida Division of Emergency Management making technology changes. I saw Senate President Pasadomo come up here. Thank you for helping us get that done. It has made us faster than we've ever been before, and that has secured another $1 billion in mitigation funding for the disaster area, $300 million of which is going to be right here in Lee County. So those dollars are going to continue to pour in here and make you more resilient. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. I appreciate it.
Well, I think it's safe to say, all of you that told me when you saw the itinerary, that I may have overshot my runway with timing. But as you could see, why we've been so successful over the last year in building back. Director Guthrie is very detailed. He knows exactly what he's doing, and it's because of his help, along with everyone else sitting behind me, that we're able to stand here today. The next person that you just saw walk up, I will say, out of everyone I've met over the last year, and every meeting I've sat in, the first time I walked into her office, I was very intimidated, very, very intimidated. Now, I don't know why. It just, maybe it was the vibe, maybe it was just, I mean, you go in some of these offices, if you haven't been up to Tallahassee, some are very small, and then as you go, some get very big, and hers was the biggest one that I was in. So I don't know if that was, if that told me that I should be nervous or I should be intimidated, but as soon as she speaks, and you'll see this very quickly, you could tell she's compassionate. You could tell she loves our area, and you could tell that she's committed to helping us. So please help me welcome Senate President Kathleen Passidomo.
Thank you all for inviting me to participate in this anniversary today, and I apologize for my lateness. Senator Albritton and I have been in meetings in Miami. He's still stuck on a runway somewhere, and I came in through some rain to get here because I didn't want to miss this event. I had some prepared remarks about, you know, the money that we're spending and the work and whatever, but I'm not going to use them because what I want to say, first of all, I want to thank the governor, the lieutenant governor, Director Guthrie, and everybody from Tallahassee that has been so supportive of this area. They have been amazing. Secondly, I want to thank all your local officials because they have been out there day in and day out, your law enforcement, firefighters. You know, a lot of them lost their own homes and they're out working for y'all. But thirdly and most importantly, I want to talk to you all who have been impacted by this hurricane. You know, this is our anniversary. And I remember, as you know, my house was flooded. I was out for almost, you know, up until Easter repairing. And I remember reading an article in the news press, and I can't remember the name of the gentleman. He and his wife live on Fort Myers Beach. They lost their home. And he talked about how he and his wife would be kayaking and, you know, walking the beach, and that was their lifestyle, and he lost it. And he said he had PTSD. And I said to myself, PTSD? And then I realized we all have PTSD. We all have suffered. We all have lost something. And it was struck home to me just yesterday because I went searching for, well, not yesterday, but earlier this week, I went searching for my grandmother's recipe for Irish soda bread to make a surprise gift for our Sergeant at Arms who's Irish. But I couldn't find it because I lost it. And how many of you lost memories and things? But those are just little things. Many of you have lost friends who've passed away. You've lost so much. But I see resilience. I see determination. And what I see here is people who are going to come back. They're going to rebuild. They're going to rebuild their lives, and you're going to build your community again. And I am committed as president of the Florida Senate, as a member of the legislature, me and my colleagues. You have Senator Martin, you have Representatives Botana, Jenna Persons-Mullica. You've got all the representatives and senators are going to be here for you because you've been here for us. That's what I wanted to say. I'm not going to talk about billions of dollars or whatever everybody's been talking about. I just want you to know we're here for you personally. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. See, isn't she intimidating at first? But then when she speaks, she just has a natural way of calming things down. And thank you for your leadership and all your help. The next person, you'll know him as soon as he stands up. I've gotten to know him pretty well over the last year. He's come over to Buttonwood a few times and asked us anything you need, you let us know. He's the only person I think I've ever met that's taller than John King or real close. Councilor Kennedy, they're real close. They stand side by side. It's a daunting group, I can tell you. So please help me in welcoming Senator Jonathan Martin.
Good morning. I've heard a lot of words over the past year. I've heard the word resiliency probably a couple thousand times, and it's important to remember that we're going to recover. We're going to rebuild. We're going to rebound. Some only had to remodel, but today we're here to remember. I grew up here in Southwest Florida, and Fort Myers Beach was a part of my childhood. It's where we came on the weekends. It's where we came on nights when I was a little bit older, and I had a friend that could drive, and we'd park down here at the Lighthouse Motel and take our fishing poles across the pier, and we'd catch a whole lot of catfish, and we'd hurt our fingers throwing the catfish back or trying to get them off the hooks. Came down here with my youth group, little vacations, weekends at Pink Shell, spring breaks, riding jet skis on the beach. 5 weeks after this hurricane hit, you all elected me for the first time to go to Tallahassee and represent you. And as you can imagine, because many of you have strong feelings, we all live in Southwest Florida because we love this area. We can talk openly about politics. We can talk openly about what we think is right and wrong. You can imagine how long my list of things was that I wanted to get done in Tallahassee. But when this hurricane hit, this became the #1 priority. Fort Myers Beach, Sanibel, our recovery. And guys, we had incredible first responders from Sheriff Carmine's leadership, from the firefighters, from the Coast Guard, from FWC, all kinds of agencies out here searching for lives, trying to help those who lost everything. We also had second responders. We had those who worked in our county government who made sure that our first responders had the tools they needed, that they had food, that they had a bed to sleep in while they were away from their families for weeks on end. The second responders were tremendous, and many of those second responders are represented by those behind me. I feel like I'm a third or fourth or fifth responder, somewhere down the line. But I heard you. I knew what you needed, and we're still working to get you everything that you need. We had incredible successes this year in the legislature because of the leadership of Senate President Pasadomo, Leader Ben Albritton in the Senate. They both represent other parts of Lee County as well, so we're very blessed to have them. We have leadership in Tallahassee, like our governor and lieutenant governor, who know the value of Southwest Florida. We're recovering. We're going to continue to recover, and it's going to be a long road ahead. But we're here for you. I want to just thank every person behind me who's made sure that we're getting all the tools that we need so that we can make sure that you have all the tools that you need to recover. And it's not just the government, but also what CFO Petronis had spoke to earlier, making sure the insurance companies are paying you all what you paid them for, that your premiums are being matched with your claims being settled for a reasonable amount. He's got your back, I've got your back. We're going to help you. And as we started watching the hurricane season this year nervously and hoping that we could recover and we could make that everything here wouldn't be washed away if another storm hit us. You know, we nervously saw Jim Katori from the Weather Channel show up in Gainesville, and we were nervous, and we were like, all right, he didn't show up here. But guys, as much coverage as he gets, I want to tell you, when he goes home, these guys step up. They make sure that we have everything we need to rebuild. And we're going to remember that. And we're going to keep working together to rebuild. Because after the cameras are gone, it's great that they came back today, but after the cameras are gone, you have an army of support behind you. People that you elected, people that live here, people that care about you. They're going to make sure that you recover and that we rebuild Fort Myers Beach and Southwest Florida. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Well, the next person, he was literally the first person I think I spoke to that was at a higher level of government after the storm. And his words were, what do you need? And at the time, we needed water. We were on the island. Services hadn't quite made it to the island yet. And I said, we need water. He said, all right, I'm on my way with a truckload. He showed up with his staff. He met me at the right in front of where the cottage used to be and helped me carry water over roofs and across boats and get the water spread out to where we needed it. And he's been involved ever since. Every single week we talk, at least once a week. What do you need? What can I help with? He's also local down in Bonita. So please give a round of applause and help me welcome Representative Adam Batana.
Thank you, folks. I just have a couple things here. We got a lot of people to talk, but I have to talk about that conversation when we came over 2 days after the storm. We brought some water. I talked myself over the bridge with some friends and my staff. And one thing that Dan didn't share, I think I was his first Mick Ultra right after the storm because it was a lot. But I have to tell you, we really need to recognize Dan, the city council, the staff, Chris Hawley. Fort Myers Beach is not going anywhere. It's going to be here, and I'm going to be here for the next 5 years, 6 years, and the folks behind us are going to be behind you for the next 6 years. So I just want to let you know that, first of all. To say the Lieutenant Governor and the Governor's Office, Kathleen Pastoma, Senator President, have all been amazing. They've all helped us out, and it's come a long ways, and we're going to be here for a while, and I just look forward. Like I say, our staff's here. She was across my right hand, Julie Inman, she's there. She worked the pantry with Dan Ehlers all the time, so make sure you give her a round of applause. A lot of you know her. And not my favorite person, Ed, but Kim's a lot better. Thank you for what you do, and appreciate you getting the word out there. But thank you.
I wasn't going to bring up that Ultra, but since you did, I can still taste how good and cold that was. So thank you for that. It was a very good beer. The next person, I'll just share a brief. I've got a chance to talk to her several times. She is very kind at heart, but the one thing that really sticks out in my mind is the first time I had to stand in front of the delegation, and it was all new to me, and anyone that knows me knows I'm not very good at asking for things or begging for money. And this was my first time of standing up there and having to do that. And I think what made it easier was her father. Her father came up and stood at the podium, and his words were, "I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be standing up here asking you for money." And I still get a chuckle out of that because it made the whole room laugh, and it certainly made my job easier that day. So please help me welcome Representative Jana Persons Malika.
Mr. Mayor, Council, folks of the town of Fort Myers Beach, thank you. Thank you for bringing us all here together on this very important day. Thank you for your leadership, your strength, your determination over the past year, and every day hereafter. We heard a lot about resiliency this morning, and we heard that resiliency starts at home. It starts in our hearts. And we have the most resilient folks in our great county, and I am proud to be a member of this family. We hear stories after stories of neighbors who put their own work aside to go help their neighbor. Of the folks who work for all of our government agencies on the local, county, state level, folks who work for our nonprofits, folks who work around the county who spent hours and hours dedicating their time to help others while they needed help in their own homes. We heard stories of children who said, "Mom, Dad, my friend down the road lost everything. Can I give them one of my toys?" Our first responders who spent day in and day out searching and saving and helping. And everyone in our county who put others before themselves and continue to do that. You all are what makes us resilient, and I can't be more grateful to be a member of your family. Thank you.
The next person, he is a very, very loud voice. When we were up in Tallahassee, he shared the story of how he was impacted, just like every one of us. His home was destroyed. He was living in a camper, running up credit card debt to make things work. And he told a very compelling story at that committee hearing or meeting, and it resonated because you realize they are just like us. They are people that have families and homes, and they lost just like we did. So please welcome Representative Spencer Roach.
It's been a very, very hard year for me personally, the people behind me, and I know for many of you. But, as a real physical sign of progress and rebuilding, if you look over my right shoulder there in the distance and you see those cranes on the other side, That's the new Coast Guard station going up. I was stationed at the old Coast Guard station. Yeah, thank you. I was stationed at the old Coast Guard station for 5 years. The beach is the very first place that I lived when I moved to Lee County about 23 years ago today. And spent a lot of my early 20s at the Lani Kai. And, you know, it's funny, 2 days after the storm, I also came down here and did a tour on the beach with Benjamin Aves, the public safety director. And literally the building to the left, gone. Building to the right, gone. Lani Kai, still there. I mean, I expected someone to walk out with a tray of Jell-O shots. It's, you know, some things never change. But, you know, one of the things I learned stationed here with the Coast Guard is about island people. You know, I would get so many questions from friends. You know, what those people on Fort Myers Beach. You know, why won't they just close down the Fort Myers Beach school? You know, why in some cases why don't they leave? Why didn't they evacuate? Why did they just sell their house and move on? They don't understand the mentality of island people that are very resilient, very resourceful, and yes, very stubborn. They just won't give up. Two groups of people I want to recognize just quickly. One is this group of kids from Fort Myers Beach School that sang the national anthem. That is the future of your island community. Those are the future island people. Take care of them. The second is the group standing along the fence line that work with Sheriff Carmine Marcino. And a quick word about those folks. In the days and weeks after the storm, my colleagues and I, we needed to make a compelling case to bring money back from the state to this community. We brought back a total of close to $350 million to Lee County. But the sheriff, not only was he busting looters and taking care of the community, but he understood the political part of that. The guy was 10-8. Every time I'd call him, Sheriff, I got the Speaker of the House here. Sheriff, the majority leaders in town. Sheriff, I got the Secretary of State. Can we use a helicopter? It was always yes, and showing those folks firsthand the damage to our island community so we could all go back and make a case of why we needed those state dollars here. Sheriff, thank you and your team. So Hurricane Ian set a lot of records. There were 151 lives lost. The property damage was about $112 billion. It was the costliest hurricane ever to hit the state of Florida, the third costliest to ever hit the United States. The storm surge was anywhere from 4, 8, 7, 10, 12, and in some cases 15 feet. That looks closer to 18 feet to me. But one thing it didn't break is your spirit, your resiliency. So I just want to recognize all of the island people that are here. We are the outside of the shell. You are the nucleus. Thank you for being who you are and for your resilience in the face of these overwhelming long odds and coming back. And in closing, I am not here to commemorate Ian. I never want to hear the word again. It's been very hard, but I do want to celebrate you, the people that were here before Ian, after Ian, and will be here for the next storm. Thank you. Let's go get them. Keep rebuilding.
Thank you, Spencer. The next speaker, I thought it was important to have him here because he gave me an opportunity up in Tallahassee to tell our story. I wasn't on the program to speak in front of the committee, and the night before he came up and asked if I would like to speak, and I said sure. So I sat up there with Commissioner Wayne and some people from other counties, and the night before I had dinner with Commissioner Wayne, and we just talked about, where we were at, what we're doing, what we're going forward. And he said something that I will, in full transparency, I stole from him and used during that meeting. And so when this next speaker allowed me to come up there and speak, one of the things that I said at the end, and I think this is true to our community, not just ours, but Sanibel and everyone else in Lee County, is we weren't looking for a handout, we were looking for a hand up. And he gave me that opportunity to share our story. So I thank him for that. And please help me welcome Representative Michael Grant.
This is a tough day. Like many people behind me and in front of me, I lost my house in Hurricane Charlie back in 2004. So I have empathy for you. I know what you're suffering. I get the PTSD. I think I had a flashback just listening to you when you were giving your introductory remarks. And Same thing with you, Senator. I remember you lose your house. More importantly, you lose your neighborhood, and you lose that sense of community that you had built up for over 20 years in my case. So I feel for you. I know what you're going through, but I also know that you will recover. It's one thing to build a community. The people that were here 15, 20, 30 years ago built up this beach, built up this city. You are here to do a much more difficult task, and that's to rebuild it. I am here to empathize with you for the suffering that you've gone through, but I want to be back 5 years from now to celebrate with you the success of rebuilding this community. Thank you for all that you have done, for the example that you have set for the rest of Florida. Please invite me back. Mayor, if you're still here, just bring some towels and a fan. Thank you all.
Where's Frankie? Can you add that to the list? The next person, you've seen he and I together many, many times. He very much says all the time that we speak every day, and we literally do. And not only is he our commissioner for our district, but he's also become a friend. And he sadly has decided that he's not going to rerun, so we will certainly miss him, but we will enjoy the time that we have with him until that election. So please help me welcome my dear friend, Ray Sandelli.
Well, good morning. What a beautiful day. Dan was kind enough to put me on the schedule here, and I said, Dan, this is pretty aggressive, you know, and I said, it takes Jimmy Petronas 10 minutes just to hug everybody, and that's being kind. But Jimmy, as it was said before, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's very true. The other thing that I think carries on to that, when we started this process, and I was down here a day or two after, I was with the sheriff. And his number one concern was, I want to know about people. I want to know what happened to them. I want to know what the cause was. I want a specific accountability in deference to the families. His priority was our priority, and he always uses us as a family. To me, probably nothing struck more than that. It's all about the people, this group of people. So, Sheriff, thank you for that. You know, they say it takes a village to rise up, and our village really goes from Tallahassee to our county, to our local communities, and to our neighbors. And it's that combined determination of spirit that truly marks this journey in the past. You try to find out the right words to say, and you've heard a lot of great stats today. But we also lost one of our true village people in the lyrics and songs of Jimmy Buffett, who will now always be part of our community. Tom, thank you. Just a couple lines out of that song. If you haven't seen the video, it's called Bubbles Up. I encourage you to see that. I think of the beach every time I see that. 2 lines out of that. Sometimes life's a struggle, multiplied double, but they love it too much for the party to end. Let's plot the course to the bright blazing days and the sweet starry nights ahead. Watch the video. I think it'll touch you as it touched me. Thank you all for what you have done. I was at a meeting last night with some of the community, and you see the best in what this community can do when they work together. Thank you all for what you have done for this special piece of paradise that we call home. Bubbles up.
The next person I've gotten to know very well over the last couple of years, even before the storm. He and his team, or as he calls them, his family members, have gotten to know one another, and there's never a time where you can't pick up the phone and they answer and give us anything we need anytime we ask for it, and they continue to tell us they'll give us anything that we need or anything we ask for. They are the true heroes. They were the ones that were first over the bridge, or first or second. It was so many sirens I couldn't tell who was who, but they were the first over the bridge to help start that search and rescue, and it's because of his leadership and his dedication. And I can tell you, and this is true, I have not spoken to one single deputy, and all the deputies I have spoken to, that do not rave about how his leadership has helped them and how committed they are to stand behind him. So please help me welcome Sheriff Carmine Marcino.
Thank you so much. I often say, while I'm the sheriff that delivers a message, my family members are the true heroes, and you are all family. It's police, fire, EMS, all emergency responders. You as the citizens of Lee County, God bless you, because I wouldn't want to be sheriff anywhere else in the country, and I mean that. Those that know me, I speak from the heart. Today's a little bit unique. Today hits me in the heart. It does. I think of many moments during, and there are countless moments during this event that took place a year ago today. Flying in the helicopter, looking down before the storm actually officially passed, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. I'll tell you, the right picture leaves you at a loss of words. I looked at my helicopter pilots and I said, land the helicopter right there. And he looked at me and he said, Sheriff, that's the beach, it's Times Square. I said, land right on the sand. Because I wanted to step out for the first time and really take a look at what exactly took place and what I was looking at, literally. And I will tell you, the feeling in my heart, it immediately brought tears to my eyes. It did. I looked, and as sheriff, you know, we all want to press a button and fix things. There was no button I could press to help every single person at once. I could stand here and thank 1 million people, including all of you, Governor Ron DeSantis, our lieutenant governor, the governor's office. They were critical. And when I tell you, I thought they had an office here in Fort Myers because they were here so much. They continuously told me, Sheriff, it's never no, it's anything you need. Anything, every single day. Every single day. And let me tell you, when you're the chief law enforcement officer that's elected for law and order and for safety and security of residents, and you get out of that helicopter and you look at what took place, it is overwhelming beyond your wildest dreams. So I could not be more grateful for the governor and the lieutenant governor and their staff for what they did to help us. We would never be where we are today without them. And I mean that. Our representatives, our senators, our county commissioners, the people that stand with me on this stage, I will tell you, as you look around, you are the reason when we're going days and weeks with little or no sleep. You were the energy, you were the fire that got us up every single day to make us where we are today. It is because of you. There is no I in team, and I mean that. Lee County, Florida specifically, all the beach ends, 1,260 square miles of land and sea. I will tell you, this is a horrific event that took place, and like Representative Roach, I don't want to talk about Ian, but what I do want to focus on is you, is law and order. And I made it very clear, standing with our governor and others, that we will have law and order, and that the people that took a hit, not only in Lee County, but all over our state, you're not getting to victimize, you're not going to victimize any of my family members, and you are my family, this community. You walk into someone's home, you get carried out. I made it very clear, and I mean that. If you don't have law and order, you don't have businesses, you don't have families, you don't have safe kids that want to go to school here. Law and order is the foundation and the structure of everything you see, every single building, every business. This is why people want to come to the great state of Florida. They're moving from all over, not just because of sunshine and palm trees? It's because they're safe. They're safe. We have the best leadership in the country in the state of Florida. We have the best residents in the entire country, and I guarantee that. And I have to talk about the energy of our CFO, Petronas, okay? And we got to laugh, right? But I'm going to tell you, when I say heart, the man is all heart, and he's a man of his word. There are so many emotional moments that I had as sheriff. Going home, I didn't want to sleep an hour because I was afraid I was going to miss something. Did I cross every T? Did I dot every I? Can we do things better? What can I do better? And the heroes that were out there around the clock that lost their homes from everywhere, right? And there's a moment when I walked out of the back of headquarters and the CFO was walking up, and he looked at me, and he didn't say anything, and I didn't say anything. We had this weird, awkward moment of just looking at each other, okay? And he started to tear up, and yes, your sheriff started to tear up. I'm human, right? And we had a moment, and I said to him, I said, Heath, man, I love you. And I said, I love you, Jimmy. I says, look, we got hit, and we got crushed. He goes, Sheriff, I promise you this. I will be with you every single step of the way. The people on this stage, the Lieutenant Governor, the President of Senators, Kathleen Pasadomo, the representatives, the governor, everyone that reached out to me personally, the phone never stopped ringing. But I have to tell you, every single time the phone rang from these people who, by the way, are busy for major, major events all over our state, it was like someone was giving me oxygen. It was a boost up. And I will tell you, I am so proud to be your sheriff. And I promise you with certainty, since the day I came into office, while this hit us hard and it crushed us, I promise you this. We will build better. We will be stronger. We are Florida strong. And this will be the best place you've ever seen. So God bless you and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. And I certainly hope you aren't doing any interior decorating at the Marcino Motel for those that are going to be visitors there. The next person is recently appointed to the position officially as of last night. So he and his team worked very hard with the USAR teams, with the sheriff, with community members, and they did the hard work. They saw the things that you don't see on TV. And those of us that did see some of the things that they had to see after that devastation, you get a really humbling idea of what they see and deal with every single day. But it's because of their determination and their commitment to the community that we can be safer every day. So please help me welcome our new Fire Chief, Scott Worth.
Good morning, everybody. If I can start, I have my team, and I see them way in the back, and I'm hoping they can all move up and be recognized as we do this. I'd like to start by thanking all the members of the state of Florida who spoke before me. I'd like to thank each of you for your support, which started in the days leading up to the storm, and it continues today. 3 a.m., as the winds were dying down, our team was pushing back towards the island to begin assessing the scope of damage, formulating our plan of action. It's the same thing we had done in many storms before Ian. Right around Pinchers on San Carlos Boulevard, we ran into the first urban search and rescue team. They were unloading their bobcats and their bulldozers. They were beginning their long and arduous task of searching every structure across the island, determined to find every survivor who stayed and rescue them, determined to recover all of those who perished. Our emergency management partners at the state, using the intel they were receiving real time, had those resources stayed so far forward that they were able to respond here without delay. The state's level of response and timeliness of that response is truly a testament to the readiness of Director Guthrie's entire team. Director, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for your leadership throughout this disaster. To our elected representatives at the local and the state level, thank you for your work in ensuring that our resources needed to recover from this disaster are making it to us at the local level. Without your support and hard work, our recovery would surely be in question. To my team, Fort Myers Beach Fire District, your work and dedication in the days following the storm, knowing that many of your homes and families were impacted.
For us to regather as we cut another ribbon at the beach school. Thank you.
Well, we didn't run over too much longer, so I appreciate you all braving the heat, and that was a very nice segue to the ribbon cutting. If you can, if we're going to do the ribbon cutting, if we could get the kids up here to sing while we're doing that ribbon cutting. You guys got one more in you? Can you sing another song for us? Come on up. You know, as they're coming up, Ian really gave us a good punch, but you know, in the words of the great Muhammad Ali, we are floating like a butterfly, and we will sting like a bee. So thank you for coming. Some news that I just got, and I want to share it, is just another reminder that our community is coming back. We have our resorts opening. We have our businesses opening. Margaritaville has just told me that they will be opening up reservations for Christmas of this year. So we're back. Thank you. All right.
Run up and cut the ribbon.
Yeah, sure.
I appreciate it. All right, Mayor, I think we're.
You guys have bins and towels.
They have a great job.
You might want to say it from the mic. Yeah, well, he's a cool dude.
If I could ask all the people that were up here on the stage, if you could come up behind the plaque here and we could take a picture, that would be great.
Well done.
Thank you.
That's really
Thank
great.
you. Can you stick around for a quick picture? Right here. I'm sorry. Chief.
Good to see you. Hey, Jenna. We're going to put your foot in there. Hey, Dan.
Can't play it too loud. Feedback.